It's good to be back on your screens. Hello there and welcome to the most watched business show in the country. Thank you for tuning in, and my name is Michael Obudu. Please hit me up on Twitter at @mobudu. This week we have very interesting stories for you from the benchmark value policy, fuel price issues and pensions. So if you're ready, let's go. It is quite fascinating how so much has happened within just 2 weeks of 2022. But let me ask you, are you prepared to pay 7 Ghana cedis for a litre of fuel? The thought of it alone makes me feel very uneasy. How do we make up for the deficit it will create in our budget, especially when salaries don't seem like they'll be increasing soon? But it seems that what can come is already here. The Institute of Energy Security, IES, says we should expect to pay that much of fuel in the next couple of days.
The IES market scan picks Star Oil, Benab Oil, Petrosankofa, Goodness Oil and Top Oil as the OMCs with the least priced gasoline and gas oil on the local market for the first pricing window of January 2022. Now, pump prices of these OMCs range between 6 cedis 52 pesos and 6 cedis 43 pesos per litre for both products. Conversely, the OMCs with the highest priced products per litre were Total, Engine, Vivo and Puma, selling between 6 cedis 75 pesos and 6 cedis 85 pesos per litre for the two major liquid fuels. Developments with the pricing for Brent crude oil, however, is expected to push prices further up at the local pumps. A barrel of crude oil, which started the year at around $77 per barrel, rose to about $84 per barrel on January 13, representing an increase of about 9%. Nana Mwesi VII is the executive director of IES, and he gives a further breakdown on price developments at the pumps.
The coming pricing window, which starts from Sunday, may see the price of gasoline and gas oil go up on the local market on the back of happenings on the international market, because over the last 2 weeks, we have seen price of crude oil gone up by more than 7.4% to sell at $80 per barrel. The price of gasoline has also gone up by more than 9.5% to sell at $775 per metric ton, whilst the price of gas oil is gone up by more than 8.5% to sell at $696 per barrel. Since we are basically price takers, these happenings on the international market will impact the local market. Though the cedi depreciated marginally against the US dollar, that will not really make the big change, but it is rather the price of crude oil and fuels on the international markets that will change the local market dynamics. And so we are likely to see prices of diesel and petrol sell around 7 cedis per litre for the first time.
Nana Mwesi VII shared what this means for the final consumer and urged government to take steps to protect them.
What this means is that consumers will spend more for same price per litre, and that will definitely impact on their disposable income. We pray that it doesn't translate into transport fares hikes. If it does, then of course goods and services will also see a further rise as we go forward. And looking at the international trend, we are likely to see crude oil go to $85 per barrel, just like happened in late October 2021. And that means that we'll be seeing further increases going into the next 2 windows. And so government might have to look at ways to cushion consumers, probably to take away some of the taxes and levies, or probably work around securing strategic fuel stock for bust and ensuring that the Tamoya refinery works as we go forward.
Meanwhile, as global oil prices are tipped to hit record levels this year, the Chamber of Petroleum Consumers Ghana (COPEC) says Tema Oil Refinery and the Bulk Oil Storage and Transportation Company Limited must absorb the public from its associated shocks. Speaking to City Business News, Executive Secretary of COPEC, Duncan Amoah, stated that these state institutions must mitigate the impact of the expected hike in fuel prices at the pumps.
The strategy for Ghana as a country will be to ensure BOST is very active and ensure again that the refinery is also active. Once you put these two together, you are in a very good space to get certain things running for Ghanaians. BOST has also brought down pipelines that should aid in transportation of oil from one point to the other and reduce the pressure on our roads. We are encouraging BOS to ensure that these pipelines are, as soon as practicable, fixed and made to work. Once that works, the cost of fuel transportation, which we pay for in the price build-up, the taxes, would at least go down and fuel prices can come down a bit. This should be our key strategy, at least for 2022, bearing in mind that international market prices are set to simply go up. So BOS again would also have to take advantage of their large capacity to hold fuel reserve. BOS was set up simply as a bulk oil buffer, right? That should hold oil when prices are favorable and stimulate the market. So the expectation will be that this particular year, BOS would go back to playing that key role aside trading. If BOS does not find the need to stock up when prices are favorable, we may get to a point where prices may just go above everybody within this country.
Before we begin to worry about the imminent increases, have you noticed that prices at the pump went up slightly during the week? Some went up by just 5 pesos, while others too went up by as much as 15 pesos. Total was first to move its prices upwards by 20 pesos to 6 cedis 85 pesos last week, but it has recently made some downward adjustments. Shell also followed suit about a day ago and went up only by 15 pesos. Gold, with the major market share, only went up by 5 pesos, making its price the most competitive amongst the 3 top oil marketing companies in the country. But how does this move by GOIL impact the industry?
So GOIL is a market stabilizer, right? And a market stabilizer means that because GOIL has a larger number of retail outlets compared to the other OMCs, whenever GOIL increases or sets a benchmark, most of the OMCs comply and follow. And for example, if you look at this particular window, which begins from 1st January to 16th January, when GOIL set its price at 6 Ghana cedi 65 pesos per litre, most of the OMCs, apart from only 2, were able to sell above GOIL's prices. All of them sold same as GOIL or sold below GOIL. So it tells you that GOIL is now the stabilizer that most of the OMCs look up to. And the reason is that they have a larger number of retail outlets with a good brand, with good what we call goodwill. So because of that particular goodwill, when they set it at a particular margin or at a particular price and you set above it, the likelihood of consumers coming to buy from you is low.
Head of Research at the Chamber of Petroleum Consumers Ghana, COPEC, Benjamin Nsia, said the decision by the oil marketing companies not to go up on their prices would benefit the consumers. But did it come with any downsides for the OMCs? How could they be addressed?
If they sell below their break-even point, they cannot even recover cost. Likewise, to even invest in future retail outlets and other future investment. So I think for the consumer, it is good because competition is leading to them reducing their margins. But for the whole industry, it is somewhat challenging for us because the OMCs cannot do the appropriate investment that will lead to efficient service delivery and quality service delivery and effective service delivery. And you can see, you go around the country, you realize that some of the OMCs, their retail outlets are in dilapidated conditions, right? Because there's not much investment there. So we are thinking that government can only cushion the OMCs by varying the taxes on the price build-up so that the OMCs can also have that window of opportunity to also adjust their margins higher, small, for them to also improve and then grow this particular industry.
When fuel prices begin to go up, the next thing that comes along are hints of upward adjustments in transport fares. Already, some driver associations say they will increase fares. You might find the rate of increase very surprising.
The Concerned Drivers Association of Ghana earlier called on the government to scrap what they describe as nuisance taxes on the price build-up for petroleum products. The group, together with the Ghana Private Road Transport Union, later staged a sit-down strike last year to drum home their concerns. However, after much deliberation, the group has resolved to increase fuel prices by 40% from January 17 to ameliorate the economic hardship its members are facing. The group is also blaming the adjustment of the transport fares on high duty rates at the ports and the increment of spare parts prices and lubricants, among others. In an interview with City News, the public relations officer of the Concerned Drivers Association of Ghana, David Agbuado, urged all Ghanaians to embrace the new fares.
We organized a nationwide strike, but with the intervention of Chief of Staff, that we should come and have dialogue with her. We did that, hoping something good will come from there. But as I speak with you, my sister, till date, nothing come out. But if we keep on doing it front and back, we will collapse as transport operators. That's why concerned drivers, we come out boldly to come and tell the public that yes, the account will say Achia Nsu Embuye. We have to take 40% so that we can sustain ourselves in the transport business. When you go to our street now, you can see all the transport, the cars rickety. It's because we are not charging the relevant fees, to make us run business. So the public should adhere with us and then comply with it that from today up to Monday, they should listen and listen to us so that we all come to one thing and then take the 40% for us to sustain ourselves in the transport business. Other than that, we will collapse.
The group is further calling on the government to scrap what it terms nuisance taxes in order to cushion their efforts.
We keep hammering it that government should scrap off those taxes. Taxes like fuel marking. Now we don't produce petrol or diesel in Ghana. It's end product that they bring. So why do we mark it again? To differentiate it between Cote d'Ivoire, Togo and Benin, Burkina Faso. When we have nothing to lose, we have nothing to gain in fuel market. The price stabilization, as I already said, we were not able to stable the price since 2015 to now. None of the market price have been stable. So what is that? Where is that those money going for? It must be scrapped off. When you say boss margin, I don't see what boss is doing for us to be paying margin today. So those margins and then the levies and then some of the taxes to us, the transporters, it's not worthy for us to be paying now. So if government adhere to us and then scrap it off, it will help the nation, help everybody in the country.
In an interesting turn of events, the Ghana Private Road Transport Union (GPRTU) dissociated itself from the announcement. It says there are no plans to increase transport fares anytime soon. That is such a relief. 40% dear, like we all will work for a healthier life. Don't we need to burn a few calories after all?
The Concerned Drivers Association on Monday said the proposed 40% increase in transport fares has been necessitated by the price of fuel at the pumps, the increment of prices of vehicles, among others. The increment, according to the group, will begin on Monday, January 17, 2022, after engagements with the sector ministry did not yield desired results. But the Ghana Private Road Transport Union (GPRTU) has distanced itself from the decision. In an interview with City Business News, GPRTU Industrial Relations Officer Imoro Abbas said their decision to rather negotiate with the government to scrap off some levies on petroleum products is still in motion.
We are surprised to hear that from Concerned Drivers Association because currently we all have taken a new stand, and at least we GPRTU break from 23rd December. We just resume today, that is 11th January, and we are yet to sit and take any decision. But currently we haven't changed from the reduction of some of the taxes that we asked government to scrap out of the current existing high fuel prices. So until we meet and take a second look at the current situation, we are still by those words. So we still want to say we disassociate ourselves from the concerned issue.
Mr. Imoro added that the coalition will meet after it has resumed from the long break to decide on the way forward.
Throughout our previous meetings, we've never decided on immediate upward adjustment in lorry fares. What we said was we were looking at the scrapping of some of the taxes, which will of course reduce the current high fuel price and which will of course benefit the driver per se. So this the decision taken until we've changed that. Well, whatever decision we take, we'll come out with it. But for now, that is what we are dwelling on. We'll just resume today. We are hoping from now to Friday, definitely we'll come out with something.
From now to
up to Friday, we shall definitely come out with something.
We now focus on another very controversial topic, the benchmark value policy. The scuffle between the Ghana Union of Traders Associations, GUTA, and the Association of Ghana Industries, AGI, is almost like a boxing fight between two world champions. None of them is backing down on their position with the policy. Due to the many challenges that bedevil the implementation, the Ghana Revenue Authority, GRA, extended the implementation date. However, another directive came from the presidency, and GUTA seems very pleased with it. The Ghana Union of Traders Associations, GUTA, has welcomed the announcement by the government of the suspension of the implementation of the Benchmark Policy Reversal Directive. President Akufo-Addo on Saturday directed the Ghana Revenue Authority to stay the rollout of the policy to allow for broader stakeholder engagement. As part of the government's efforts towards promoting local production, the discounts on benchmark values for some selected items were announced in the 2022 budget. But the implementation of the policy was fraught with many challenges, hence stakeholders including GUTA and the Ghana Importers and Exporters Association called for it to be suspended to allow for broader engagements. President of GUTA, Dr. Joseph Obeng, while lauding the president's move, said he was hopeful of fruitful deliberations.
First of all, we thank the president for coming out with these directives. We are very grateful. It goes to show how concerned he is for the trading community as well as the consuming public. We are also waiting for this stakeholder engagement with government. Then we'll know whatever we have to do with this benchmark value. So we are very grateful. If you see the euphoria, the happiness that greeted this, the number of people who called, it means that people's livelihood actually depend on the maintenance of this benchmark policy rather than the reversal. So we thank government for listening to our pleas, and we also want government to direct Ghana Revenue Authority to suspend the earlier memo they were circulating because it will then contradict with this directive. So we plead with government to suspend the earlier memo that GRA was circulating. That one means nothing to us. That's not what we are seeking. What we are seeking is ultra suspension that will enable stakeholders to engage ourselves, and then when we are conclusive of this engagement, then it will determine what is to come or otherwise.
GUTA might be happy with the latest development, but the Association of Ghana Industries, AGI, believes the government should be bold and take the step to save the local industry. AGI went ahead to punch holes in an earlier claim by GUTA that the reversal of the benchmark value policy could increase prices on the market by 50%. They may have a point though, because duties at the port are not the only cost determinants for traders.
The reversal of the discounts on benchmark values, which is expected to affect some 43 items, has been resisted by sections of the trading community and comes almost 3 years after the government reduced the benchmark values or delivery values of import by 50%, except for vehicles, which were reduced by 30%, all in an effort to reduce the menace of smuggling and make the country's port more competitive and attractive. The reversal, if implemented, will affect items including sugar, poultry, pasta, palm oil, roofing sheets, toilet paper, facial tissue and towel, chocolate, Portland cement and mosquito coils. Other items also include vehicles, ceramic tiles, aluminium products, cartons, textiles, fruit juices, among others. The president of the Ghana Union of Traders Association, GUTA, Dr. Joseph Obing, who has been campaigning alongside other groups in the trading community against the reversal of discounts on benchmark values, has in the past warned of prices of goods rising by as much as 50%. But according to the CEO of the Association of Ghana Industries, Sechuma Kwabwa, the prices of goods should not increase beyond 10% with implementation of the reversal.
There's the argument that this is going to lead to doubling of prices, and people are worried about it. It's a false information that is being spread. Me and you will go to school on this quickly. Pre-benchmark, you were selling at 120 cedis. Post-benchmark, you are selling at 110 cedis. The difference is what? 10 cedis. Now, we say reverse it. When you reverse it, where do you move from? Now you are at 110. You move back to 120. So, if you are now selling at 110 because of the benchmark, you are not going to sell at 120. The difference in the price should be what? 10 cedis, which has resulted from the reversal. That 10 cedis as a percentage of the 110 is only 9%. So where lies this doubling of prices? Your prices should not go up more than 10%. Your prices should not go up more than 10%. In other words, if the price of the product in the market was 10 cedis, even if prices go up, if the importer decides not to absorb and pass the whole difference to the consumer, it should go to 11 cedis, from 10 cedis to 11 cedis. Is that a doubling of price? Why are we deceiving ourselves that prices are going to double and everybody is getting worried? But this simple calculation, go and analyze it. It will not be more than 9%. Maximum, even if you want to cheat, is 10% increment. Will that break the back of everybody?
AGI has consistently stated that the policy was having a negative impact on the local industry because it made them uncompetitive against imported products that were mass-produced and enjoying duty discounts. It looks like their claims hold some water. Woma Africa Limited, producers of phyto vegetable oil and fortune rice, have announced a temporary shutdown of their oil-producing plant due to some operational challenges. The implementation of the benchmark value policy by the government is to blame for the development.
According to a statement issued by the leading fast-moving consumer goods manufacturer in Africa, Woma Africa Limited, the oil side of the business is facing some operational challenges that is affecting the business negatively. It notes that since the introduction of government's duty discounts on benchmark value policy in 2019, there has been a huge increase in cheap imported products into the country. As a result, they are facing challenges making sales in the local market because imported oils from Asia are selling far cheaper than their product. But the government's announcement of the reversal of the duty discount on the benchmark policy was a welcoming news. However, government's latest suspension has aggravated their situation. Woma Africa also explains that since Ivory Coast decided to regulate the price of oil in their market, they have set the price far lower than the prevailing price of local producers in Ghana. This, according to the company, is making them uncompetitive in the market. Thus, sales have subsequently slumped significantly. They further note that the export market, which has been complementing their local sales, has also been hit by the non-availability of vessels to transport the product to their main export market, Senegal, due to the COVID situation. These compounded problems resulted in worse sales in December 2021 and the low sales continuing in January 2022. In view of this, Woma Africa Limited states that with no space for storage due to low sales, they are compelled to take a temporary shutdown of their oil-producing plant and monitor the situation, and is asking for the suspension of the collective bargaining agreement negotiations as they do not have the environment to negotiate in good faith. The latest announcement of the suspension of the implementation of the benchmark discount policy until further notice was captured in a letter dated January 13, 2022 from the Ghana Revenue Authority and comes after a meeting held on January 12, 2022.
GUTA and the AGI may both have some legitimacy to their claim, but what then should be the deciding factor on the benchmark value policy? For tax analyst Dr. Alex Ampabing, it must be based on nothing but data, data, data. He says the government cannot be caught up in the disagreements of both parties. Why do we want to do that at the risk of losing revenues at the country's ports? But then, what are the figures from the ports looking like since the implementation of the policy? The Ghana Union of Traders Associations GUTA and the Association of Ghana Industries AGI have been at the opposing ends of the government's decision to reverse the discounts in the policy. However, the fiscal data from the Ministry of Finance since the implementation of the policy shows that revenues from the ports dipped for the first 5 quarters but recorded continuous growth in the next 5 quarters compared with the base year 2018. Tax consultant Dr. Alex Ampabing attempted an interpretation of this development while suggesting what the government's decision should be based on.
We need to find out that this new increment trend in revenue we are getting at the port, if it's new companies maybe from Burkina, from Niger and Mali coming into Ghana, which is leading to the increment, then they are responding, because I don't expect them to have responded quickly when the announcement was made. So 1 year on, there have been 5 consecutive increments. Government need to sit and critically look at the data and see if the increment is for new importers, then we got to maintain it or probably do more to make our port attractive. Any decision to reverse the benchmark value, if it's indeed coming from new importers, will have consequences. Probably they might withdraw. They might not come back again if even you introduce a new one, because they won't trust the government. So I really do think that this decision is now on the government to come out and say the first consecutive 5 quarters we lost is because no importers had come in. But the last 5 consecutive increment is because there have been new influx of importers. On that being the case, we need to do something and even be more competitive, because clearly there is evidence to suggest that revenue is increasing.
City TV is live on DSTV. Go to channel 363. On GoTV, access City TV on channel 182. On a digital TV, please press the menu button on the remote control and run a new search on your TV. Take note that without an antenna, you cannot access City TV on your television. City TV can be accessed on a free-to-air digital box like the GoTV and StarTimes box. City TV, it's your world.
Away from the ports, let me tell you about the latest filler that is restoring the image of our country, Ghana, on the international front. We have officially been removed from the European Union's list of money laundering and terrorist financing countries. For our beloved country to be associated with anything crime-related is just something else. But gladly, President Nana Akufo-Addo, the showboy, made the announcement recently.
We're delighted that on 7th January 2022, we received a notification from the European Commission through the intermediary of the Commissioner for Financial Services, Financial Stability and Capital Markets Union, Mayreed McGuinness, that Ghana, after the pursuit of some rigorous reforms, has now been formally removed from the grey list of high-risk third countries in money laundering activities. In concluding, ladies and gentlemen, I'm very happy to state that this afternoon's meeting has further boosted the steadfast cooperation between us, and Ghana will continue to collaborate with Hungary at all levels, particularly towards the peaceful resolution of conflicts and in the search for global peace and security to promote sustainable development around the world.
The Registrar General has delisted over 2,700 companies from its company register for failing to file their annual returns. Of course, this is in accordance with the law, but if your name is not on the list yet, even though you default, please go and do the needful.
The affected 2,788 companies failed to comply with the directive issued by the Registrar General's Department to file their annual returns on time. In a statement, the Registrar General's Department noted that the names of these companies, which were earlier published on the department's website and in the national dailies, were part of the first batch of over 100,000 defaulting or dormant companies the department had earmarked to strike off the company's register as part of its cleanup exercise. In an interview with City Business News, the Registrar General, Jemima Owari, urged all defaulting companies whose names did not appear on the first batch of deleted companies to file their annual returns by June 30, 2022 to avoid being delisted.
Not only companies limited by shares, I'm talking of about 1,374 companies limited by shares and by guarantee. And then we are talking of fund clubs, that is the churches, about 978. External companies, 41. And we had a voluntarily owned up company. They came up themselves and said we should take them off. They are about 395. That makes the total of 2,788. But initially we had over 3,000 on our website. And these were just a sample of companies that had not filed their annual returns from 2011 to date. And so you can realize the number has gone down now. What that means is that we called up the various companies office by office, and some took us serious and came and filed returns and are now in good standing. But some didn't bother.
She further noted that the penalty for late filing of annual returns will be increased from 450 Ghana cedis to 500 Ghana cedis after June 30, 2022.
And so up to 30th of June, I've given all companies an opportunity to come and file their annual returns. File up to 2021 for 2022 returns. And then those who, for one reason or other, have their filing date ending in December, that will go to December 2022. But definitely, we've given you an opportunity to file your returns. That's 2021 for 2022, up to 30th of June 2022. The penalty is now going up from 450 to 500. Let me use this opportunity to also let businesses know that the new Companies Act that was passed in 2019 requires that all businesses should update the registrar with the beneficial owners of their companies. That also, up to 30th of June, if you don't do that, penalties will be issued against you.
Fees for filing annual returns and beneficial ownership information, however, remains 50 Ghana cedis and 60 Ghana cedis, respectively.
Now to pensions. I'm sure all pensioners will be smiling to the bank this month because they will see their benefits have increased. The Social Security and National Insurance Trust (SNIT) made the announcement after deliberations with key stakeholders and in compliance with the law. Should we start calling our pensioner relatives just to say hello? You'd never know. The Social Security and National Insurance Trust (SNIT) says all pensioners on its pension payroll as of 31st December 2021 will have their monthly pensions increased by a fixed rate of 9.68% plus a redistributed flat rate of 3 cedis 44 pesos. Accordingly, the highest earning pensioner as of 31st December 2021 will receive 142,000 Ghana cedis, and pensioners receiving the minimum pension of 300 Ghana cedis as of 31st December 2021 will have their monthly pensions increased to 332 cedis 48 pesos. Director General of SNIT, Dr. Oferitin Kran, made the announcement at a press conference earlier on Tuesday.
The indexation rate for pensioners who were on our 2021 payroll, the overall indexation rate is 10%. Now, that 10% is redistributed among all pensioners to ensure that pensioners' purchasing power is preserved. And what that means is that every pensioner will get at least the targeted inflation rate of 9.68%. And then the difference between that and the 10%, which is the 0.32%, is equally distributed among all pensioners. That works out to be 3.3 cedis 44 pesos for every pensioner. And so when you add the two, what you find out is that about 67% of the people on our pension payroll are going to receive an indexation rate. They will see their pensions increase by more than 10%, 10% or more, 67%. And then the 33% will see their pensions increase between 9.68% and 10%.
10% might be better than nothing at all, but the Africa Center for Retirement Research says it should have been better. The civil society organization says SNIT should have been able to do better if it was doing well. As for the increment, the group says it will not make much of a difference for pensioners, some of whom are receiving as low as 300 Ghana cedis.
The Social Security and National Insurance Trust, SNIT, in accordance with Section 80 of the National Pensions Act 2008, Act 766, said the indexed monthly pensions have been increased upwards by 10% for 2022. SNIT, working in consultation with the National Pensions Regulatory Authority, added that pensioners on the SNIT pension payroll as of December 31st will have their monthly pension increased by a fixed rate of 9.34%, representing the annual average price inflation plus a redistributed flat amount of 6 cedis 47 pesos. However, according to the Executive Director of the Africa Center for Retirement Research, Abdallah Mashoud, this is a true reflection of the abysmal performance of the scheme.
If you look at, historically, if you begin from 2009 all the way to 2022, you realize that the minimum overall pension indexation rate was 18.5%. And that occurred in 2017, I think. It has always been above 20%. Then we come down to 2018, it was 11%. Then it was 11% in 2018. It was 10% in 2018. It came to 11% in 2019. 2020, it was 11%. Then 2021, it was 10%. Then the same 10% is repeated over here. And what I'm saying is that the overall pension indexation rate is just a reflection of the overall performance of the scheme. And that leaves a cause for all of us to be worried. Because if the scheme is not performing in terms of investment performance, in terms of contribution collection, in terms of compliance rate, I heard the Director General talk about inactive contributors. I feel this is not an excuse. We have to go and beef up our compliance strategies.
The Director General of SNIT, Dr. John Oforitin Krang, at a press briefing also announced that the minimum pension of 300 Ghana cedis as of the end of last month will be increased to 332.48 Ghana cedis effective 20th January 2022. But Mr. Mashoud warns the amount increased as the current figure could have dire consequences on the already poor economic situation of pensioners.
If you want to really maintain, or if you want to improve the social and economic standing of pensioners, what do they call it? It is sad that we have retained 300 Ghana cedis as minimum pension, because historically, look at from 1992 when the Social Security law was established. Historically, each and every year, whenever pensions are indexed, you realize that the minimum pension has increased each year from 1992 all the way up to 2017 when it got stuck at 276 Ghana cedis. Again, The same figure 276 as minimum pension was retained in 2018. Then in 2019, it was increased to 300 Ghana cedis. This 300 Ghana cedis has been retained for 4 years. This is the first time in the history of Social Security Administration in Ghana. And this is basically unacceptable.
While I was trying to nap the other day, wifey came saying the milk I had bought was not flowing when she tried pouring it into her cup of tea. I was like, how is that possible? I thought she was exaggerating. So you can imagine to my surprise when I went to attempt pouring the milk and absolutely nothing came out of the tin. I didn't think much of it till it happened again with another I bought the following day. Did you also have a similar experience? Don't worry, the Food and Drugs Authority has some answers for us.
This is how the milk looks like when you pour it. This is how it comes.
Social media has for some time now been awash with videos, pictures and many complaints by some customers expressing their displeasure and disappointment with what they discovered in the tins of milk. But the Food and Drugs Authority revealed in a statement that the milk after laboratory analysis was found not to be harmful. So far, the FDA says almost 60,000 tins have already been recalled from the market by the manufacturer. In an interview with City Business News, the acting director of Legal and Corporate Affairs at the FDA, Joseph Benny, gave more insight into the findings of their investigations, which revealed the cause of the defect.
We realized that, and from their exercise, they realized that they used a milk with a low heat stability instead of one that has a high heat stability for that particular product. So after production, with time, the milk coagulates. So that is what we found, that one, there was no microbial contamination. Two, there was no leakage from the internal lacquer that covers the inside of the container. Three, the seal integrity was good, so there was no issue from external, anything from outside contaminating the product. And finally, we also realized that it was the stability of the milk that was an issue. So the safety aspect was confirmed that there was no safety issues. Then we found out also that what batches were produced with that particular milk. The initial request for recall was general, but then when we found out what batches were produced with that particular milk, now we're doing the direct targeted recall, giving consumers the batch numbers that they have to look out for so that they can bring those products if they have any of those.
Mr. Benny further stated that his outfit had made available to the public details of the faulty batches to help in the effective recall of the products. He added that the FDA was putting systems in place to ensure the issue did not reoccur. At least Nestle Ghana says it is committed to replacing and recalling the faulty milk. So if you have one, just reach out to them so they sort you out. From milk, let's talk about cocoa. Do you remember cocoa carriers across the country went on a strike to demand improved working conditions and increased rates? Charlie, the people have changed their minds though. If you were in their shoes and saw your employer making efforts to replace you, wouldn't you do the same? Anyway, watch our next video and look out for the guy who says they reconsidered their decisions because they cared about Ghanaians. Hey, chairman, so when you went on a strike there, you forgot about us, eh?
As a measure to ensure work at the warehouses was not disrupted and also to ensure no wastage of cocoa beans, the Cocoa Marketing Company Limited employed the services of prison inmates to handle the offloading. Trucks loaded with cocoa beans were not offloaded due to the strike by the cocoa carriers. Chairman for the cocoa carriers, Raymond Atanga, tells City Business News that although they will accept the current amount of 82 pesos per bag of cocoa they carry, they will continue to push for better conditions.
For now, we are accepting the 82 pesos, yes. That's what we are going to work with conditions that incentives, allowances, and welfare and the Senate, they should start putting it in place so that next season there wouldn't be confusing, there wouldn't be a strike before we do work. But next season, before the season will start, everything will be in place for us. So we have accepted the 82 pesos for the land of Ghana's sake, for our motherland's sake.
He indicated that they are not returning due to the temporary use of prison inmates, but rather to limit the damage their absence is causing at the warehouses.
Since we served them the letter, they have not also submitted the letter to CMC of this strike we are doing. The contractors have failed Cocoa Board, they have failed the carriers, and then they wanted by all means to provide laborers, and so they went in to employ prisoners to work in Tema, to work in Takrady, and today as we speak now, prisoners are also inside there working in Kumasi. We are not, let me state this clearly, we are not getting back to work because they employ prisoners, because the prisoners cannot do the work. We are not getting back to work because we are hungry. No, we are getting back to work because of the citizens of Ghana, because of the economy of Ghana. Each person or the public should understand this. As we are speaking right now, we want Cocoa Board to understand that if things are not made well for us, maybe next season it will be worse. Next season it will be worse. So please, it's not because we are hungry. No. It's not because of the prisoners. No. But because of our motherland and the country to keep on moving.
The leadership of the cocoa carriers says it will not give up on the concerns of its members.
Still on cocoa, and to a very damning story from the sector. 8 persons have been arrested for their alleged involvement in the use of children on their cocoa farms in the Ashanti and Western North regions. Cocoa Board totally condemns the development and says the suspects are in the cooler, helping the police with investigations.
The use of child labor has risen in cocoa farms in Ghana during the past decade despite industry promises to reduce it. According to a report by Solidarity Center in 2020, 55% of children living in agricultural households in Ghana are reportedly engaged in child labor, while more than 90% of them are engaged in at least one form of hazardous child labor. A recent investigative piece by Joy News, which exposes how children in various farming communities, such as Elukrom in the Western North region, are hired to work as laborers on various cocoa farms of their new taskmasters, has sparked up conversations on the matter. According to the documentary, some of the children are even trafficked and brought to endure long hours of drudgery. Expressing disappointment in the developments, the director in charge of public affairs at the Ghana Cocoa Board, Fifi Boafo, in an interaction with the media, disclosed that 8 suspects have been picked up by the Ghana Police Service and Cocoa Board intelligence officials and are assisting with investigations.
The documentary shows that there are yet some criminal elements set on defying the government policy and undermining the serious effort of Cocoa Board to eradicate child labor in cocoa production. We have already reported the situation as unearthed in the documentary to the police, and some arrests have already been effected in Ashanti and Western North regions. All suspects and persons of interest are currently going through the legal process. We have similarly alerted the police on, we shall similarly alert the police on any other case related to child labor which comes to our attention for the persons involved to be apprehended and prosecuted. We want to send a strong caution to any person who may be involved in these acts to desist from undermining the industry which forms the backbone of our country. We want to assure our stakeholders that it remains our resolve to ensure that child labor in any form or shape within the cocoa value chain is eradicated. And we call for closer collaboration and consolidation of our effort to achieve these goals.
Mr. Boafo further outlined some measures his outfit has put in place to eliminate the canker, such as improving the remuneration of farmers so they can afford to employ the services of the right people instead of relying on children.
Other interventions put in place by Cocoa Board include the mainstreaming of anti-child labor education into our extension service delivery, the anti-child labor sensitization program in cocoa growing areas, the pursuit of remunerative income for farmers to be able to afford adequate labor and farm sustainably, and a cocoa management system which will improve the child labor monitoring and remediation system put in place in the cocoa sector.
To our final story of the week, we all want other regional capitals to develop like Accra, but we don't want them inheriting our problems too. Can you imagine that residents in Ho are now beginning to experience high cost of rent? But what could be the cause? Our next video has the details.
With the current rate of urban population growth and the inability of housing delivery systems to cope with the ever-increasing demand in many cities and towns, the urban housing crisis in developing countries has become a challenge to most people. Ghana, for instance, experienced several unsatisfactory situations in urban housing provision as a result of rapid population growth, a struggling economy, and persisting poverty, as well as lack of effective and consistent public policy formulation and implementation when it comes to housing provision. Policies aimed at providing housing, either directly through the public sector or indirectly through the promotion of private investment in housing, have not been able to meet the growing demand. In a growing urban center such as Ho, where an average resident earns not more than 700 cedis, the cost of rent becomes a headache as landlords mostly demand a minimum of 1 year rent advance. Some landlords who have been speaking to me say the increasing cost of building materials have played a major role in the prices of rent being increased.
It's the cost of living, and we can all witness how things are expensive in this country, especially the cost work of construction and the building materials. They are so expensive. So these are the costs of increasing the rent fees.
Oh, ni na be mo shi khome be e khova shi khome be well ba blogo be nka material fa shi khokwa aba ikwe na aba khohoila gade uno gadamre e khofo jiro ayina gano jimina na maro na chone na mako
nka michopa wata watu nemi
aka the best in new whatever able reduce material
miabe khonyawa be leke mi le gbogbo be khonyawa la si khole ehwa akwa be mi cho be 2015 to 2016 mi fele na continue we asie LLO mi fele na time mi fele na road 16 cedi play 12 cedi fifie mi le road de kaple 39 play 40 cement de mi fele time cement de mi fele na 22 play 18 cedi we le time aka fifie mi le cement de kaple 47 cedis ye 50 cedis never bunu ma hote po fifi la afina chukone and be amene never normal la ucha akọ price ejibe yepe ga keke igblea e gamala iche yakpo viede chuma ide tepe how amro le ava high hola a khofi che keke zu agbanewe ne ponu ma pete vula agbolobe awo ta nu yo pete le no ma o kefi ne be kafra miape nu no la we nu le ta se wedidi.
According to these landlords, government's policies have not been favorable.
The government said we should take 6 months, 1 year, or 3 months. When you take 6 months, it will not enable you to finish another apartment. So it has been giving us headache. So the cost of cement, sand trips, rocks, iron rod, these are the causes of increasing our rent fees.
Mayina 50 Ghana. Kajabo reduce material problem no category. Ka ema ha tanyo kanu bobo na ko haila ma.
Some residents and students who also spoke with me registered their displeasure at the high cost of rent in growing urban areas such as Ho. They say most of the landlords fail to provide the necessary amenities needed in their homes but charge exorbitant prices due to the emergence of corporate institutions and schools. They want government to come to their aid.
Recently, I came from Akachi and I have come here for a remedial classes. But everything in Ho buying things in Ho is very expensive. As compared to Akachi, even paying rent is even low as compared to Ho. So I want something to be done about it because we are students. Most of us, our parents are not government workers. Some of our parents, they are farmers, and before they will hustle and give us money to pay rent over here, it's very high. So I want something to be done about it.
The foreign students or the other students coming from the different region coming to the region. So it has opened their eyes to increase the this thing for us, the rent for us. That's the only truth. Of course, as we say, the iron rods and other things are the same thing. If you buy iron rods, to take you more than 20 years, you will not buy iron rods again. But because of the students, especially that's the UHA students who need accommodation severe or seriously, that's why they have increased it.
Very expensive. Very expensive because I think this place is a developed place, the regional capital, and people moving in here and there to work and all that. So rent is really expensive. If you really want to be comfortable, maybe self-contained room or chamber and hall or something, you are going to spend about 2,000 getting to 3,000 cedis before you can get a place like that. So
Meanwhile, authorities at the rent control have attributed the increasing cost of rent in Ho to financial difficulties, as most residents are not financially stable.
Well, this is all time will allow us for this week's edition of the Business Weekly Show here on City TV. Please don't miss out on the Business Dashboard. It also airs at 10 p.m. sharp every weekday, with a repeat the following day at 7 and 10:30 a.m. Our website, citybusinessnews.com, has regular business news updates for you. My name is Michael Obodu. Please hit me up on Twitter at @mobodu. Catch you same time next week. Stay safe, stay informed. Bye-bye.